While the Tomorrow War may be about aliens, the Today War is about beating the heat. So if you hear the AC in the background, that's why. Welcome back to my channel for another cinema review. Today we're talking about the Tomorrow War, which came out last night on Amazon Prime. The Tomorrow War is about people living their normal life in about 2021, 2022. And all of a sudden, during a soccer game, these soldiers come out of nowhere through a portal from 30 years in the future, and they say, we're fighting a war 30 years in the future that's going to destroy the world, and we need your help now. So they start drafting people from 2021 or 2022 to go 30 years in the future and start fighting these aliens that have overrun the world. Chris Pratt is ex-military, and he's currently a science teacher at a school. He gets drafted to go, and so this movie follows him and his story and his adventure as he gets transported 30 years in the future to fight this war and everything that encapsulates all of these aliens, and working with people who aren't soldiers and they're just doing their best to do what these people from the future told them they're just sending them out to do. In Tomorrow War, Chris Pratt is supported by characters like Yvonne Strahovski and J.K. Simmons. I'm personally a huge fan of Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons, so I really wanted to see this movie. This movie was directed by Chris McKay, and he did a lot of movies that I actually don't like. He did all of the Lego movies. He did Dr. Dolittle. Apparently, he's going to be doing Nightwing. I wasn't impressed with any of those movies that he made prior, but good thing I didn't know he directed this movie before I watched it. Without further ado, let's dive into the 6 things that make a movie great. The plot of this movie was actually pretty interesting. It's simple enough that there's a lot you can do with it, but it's not overcomplicated for your demographic. The demographic of this movie is pretty wide open, and I believe that truly a simple plot can do wonders for a movie, and it did for this. It's easy to follow. Everything that happens in it makes sense to a certain extent. There is a couple things that happen that just having to do with timelines. It doesn't get very complicated, but there's a couple moments where I was thinking, wait, if they did this, then would it change this? And they don't really cover that in the movie. But overall, for what this movie is, it knows what it is, and I have to give the plot a thumbs up. Family friendliness. This movie was pretty violent, and it had a good amount of... the profanity in this movie wasn't too bad. There was one scene where I found myself laughing out loud because it was... it was something that was so relatable, and it just kept going, but I thought it was so freaking funny. It made me die laughing, and I really enjoyed it. As far as family friendliness goes, the alien creatures are kind of scary. They're really well done, but they're kind of scary. Where I would feel comfortable with kids watching is probably mid to late teens and young adults. So overall, I have to give family friendliness probably, it's in the middle, but thumbs down for younger, but thumbs up for the mid-teens to young adults, because it's just a typical alien war movie. The acting and script. The acting was really good. Obviously, I really like Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's just such a likable actor that anything he does is enjoyable, and he does the same thing here. There was some moments where on some of his facial expressions, in my mind, didn't match the mood, the tone of what was going on. And that's not, I mean, Chris Pratt plays a funny character in pretty much every movie he's in, but this movie was more of a serious role for him. And he is still funny and still that like joyous person that he normally is, but it's definitely more of a serious tone for his character specifically. And sometimes he nails it, but sometimes the facial expressions are kind of off. Everyone else in the movie does a pretty good job, and the script was decent. There wasn't any moment in the script that kind of pulled me out of it. I'm kind of in the middle on this one too, but for what the movie is, I'd probably say the acting and script would have to get a thumbs up, just because you know what this movie is. You go into it knowing it's an alien war movie, and the standard's kind of set for that as far as like Independence Day or Battle Los Angeles. Those were kind of the vibes that I got from this movie. But this movie was a lot better than Battle LA, personally. So I have to give a thumbs up for acting and script. Character development. This movie doesn't really need that. It does focus in on Chris Pratt's family just enough that you feel for him and his family, because his family is kind of central to the plot. But the thing is, with the rest of the characters, there's not much character development, because lots of people die. It's not an integral part of this movie. This movie's more of just like if you're wanting to watch a movie on Friday or Saturday night with the boys or the ladies, if you like alien war movies with lots of alien blood squirting everywhere. This is kind of the movie for that. It focused on what it needed to. I have to give it a thumbs up, not because they didn't do it with a lot of characters, but because they focused on what they needed to for the story to make sense, and that worked. It just worked, so I give it a thumbs up. I will say, so the alien graphics looked great. The explosions looked really good. The alien blood looked really good. I will say some of the CG in this movie did not do it for me. There were some scenes, like some close pans of Chris Pratt's face and other characters' faces where it looked like there was like a CG screen over their face, and I could really tell, and it just did not work. It pulled me out of the story. It looked worse than what they did with Paul Walker when they took his brother and then they CG'd Paul Walker's face over his brother's face. That looked more real than what happened here. There was also other moments where Chris Pratt does some stuff that doesn't look real. So I have to give CG a thumbs down, but the aliens looked great. I think they blew their budget on making the aliens look really good, and I have no complaints there. So overall, thumbs down, but the aliens were really cool. They are their own thing. It was pretty unique alien characters, so I enjoyed it. And then rewatchability. This movie is super rewatchable. Like I said, it had vibes of those earlier alien war movies. Movies like Independence Day, Battle LA, along those lines. This movie really would have fit in with those earlier alien war movies, except I think this one's even a step above. This movie's easily rewatchable, and I probably will watch it again with my family because it's just fun. This movie was super entertaining. I laughed a lot. The action was intense. I really enjoyed the acting. Both J.K. Simmons and Chris Pratt did a great job overall. I have to give this movie probably an 8 out of 10. It was a great movie, and I think that if you're looking for a movie to watch, this may be a great option for you to watch. The runtime is about 2.5 hours, which I have no complaints about because I love long movies. Big fan of the movie. It was really entertaining, and I would definitely recommend watching it. This movie came out last night. It's on Amazon Prime. Go ahead and go watch it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed my analysis of it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great 4th of July. Be safe out there. Honor your fire restrictions. Don't fire fireworks in the forest. And don't go through any portals that take you 30 years in the future to fight a war that was never meant to happen. Have a great weekend, guys and gals. I'll see you in the next video.